Who's your favorite comic book character? Is it Wolverine, Superman, or Dr. Dreamo? If you said Dr. Dreamo, you probably follow the local comic book scene here in DC. Let's meet Evan Keeling, a representative of a local group of comic book artists who create, publish, and distribute their own work throughout the city.
The DC Conspiracy is a collective of local comic book artists and writers. It's a very loose collective. We just sort of meet about once a month and do some group projects together. It was founded around 2005, so almost 10 years ago. I suggested a bar called Dr. Dreamo's Tap House in Arlington. But we met there. I think there was about maybe 8 to 10 of us then, maybe less, but there's just a few of us. And it was a good meeting. We had a good time, and we started kind of spreading the word to other people that we knew. And Dr. Dreamos became our regular hangout. We met there once a month from that point on until their closing, I think in 2009. And the group started growing. I think it was probably the very next, like the SPX of 2006, we decided to share a half table together. But that was where we premiered the Dr. Dreamo Jam book, which is our first group collaborative project. And then we did 3 more volumes of that, so 4 copies in total, and then we did a series of anthologies based around themes, and we're currently doing the newspaper. We named it after the bar that we met at Dr. Dreamo's Tap House. It kind of started out somewhat kind of an homage to Doctor Strange. It was just sort of more because the name was so similar. The character, sort of, Matt created the look of the character. He did the first 4 pages of the Jam book. And then the way that we did the Dreamo Jam books that we did the 4 volumes of is everybody would draw like 4 to 6 pages, and then the next person would pick up the story and draw the next 4 to 6 pages, and then somebody would draw the next 4 to 6 pages. And it wasn't really, it kind of was sort of whatever anybody did with it. Like some people would take it like and be very surreal with it. Some people would be very superhero with it. Some people kind of did slice of life stuff. I mean, it kind of just sort of ebbed and flowed depending on how people wanted to do it and the styles changing and stuff like that. So it's a very loose. So after we did those 4 issues and it was kind of winding down, we decided to do the Magic Bullet newspaper because a lot of us were interested in broadsheet things. And on that, people can do pretty much whatever they want. We ask, like, nobody can do like a serialized, or in a way, like I do a serialized strip, but each of my strips fits, like it's a character that continues, but each page can stand on its own. So that's sort of more the guideline, is we want each page to stand on its own. So like people don't have to collect all the issues of Magic Bullet, because it's, in some ways we're also trying to keep it as a disposable medium so people can just grab it and read it on the metro or when waiting somewhere. And then if they want to pass it on to somebody else or throw it out or recycle it or do whatever they want to do with it. There is enough of a independent market now and different venues for people to get their comics out. Because I mean, I personally, like, I like superhero comics a lot, and I sometimes will draw things like that, but I don't, the projects that I work on personally don't really fall into that sort of genre. So they're not things that I could take to one of these bigger publishers and say, you know, will you publish my book? I'd also not really want to, because then they'd want the rights to it. But you can, there are a lot of smaller publishers and a lot of book companies are starting to get into publishing graphic novels. And so, I mean, it's a really broad field. It's always surprising to me how many people are doing comics in DC. Most of the DC creators I've dealt with are more sort of hobbyists. Sounds kind of odd, but it's people like me who have a day job but really like comics and really want to put them out and are interested in publishing and are interested in putting out projects and selling them and getting interested in them, but are not necessarily interested in sort of pursuing just working for a big company and drawing their character and doing that stuff. They're interested in putting out their ideas and their projects and concepts and doing that.
In the studio today is DCTV co-producer Kevin Vaughn. Kevin, thanks for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Now, Kevin, from our conversation with Evan, we learned that the group does more than just your typical superhero stories. How does this collective challenge our common perceptions of comics?
I really believe it challenges a belief that all comic strip writers are introverted, like to work at home by themselves, when in actuality there's a community of individuals who are passionate and dedicated to their craft.
So Kevin, what about the collective surprised you the most?
I believe the entire process. It actually takes a lot of teamwork and collaboration to get from an idea and concept to a finished product.
Thanks, Kevin. A passion for illustration led a network of local artists to collaborate with one another and share their work with the surrounding community. Our discussion with Evan shows how a small collective can be an ideal way for a budding artist to discover his voice. For more info on the DC Conspiracy, visit their Facebook or website at magicbulletcomics.com.